Listen, I don't know who this message is for, but whoever this message is for, God wants you to know that holding on to the past is the only thing that will block your future. Welcome back to This Side of Town. It's your boy PB&J, where I aim to help you lead a more soul-centered life, one intentional moment at a time. And I decided to ask or give clarity to the Divine Family and the Collective to see what is the most important thing you need to know right now moving into this new week. And I received a beautiful message here, okay? A beautiful message and an important one. Starting with the 10 of Sacred Circles from our ancestral deck, which is representative of the extended family, okay? Of kinship, of the clan matters, of the bloodline, of family matters, of the accumulation of wealth of experience offered by the extended family, relationships with relatives, as well as the wealth of one's family traditions. So initially, I felt like this had to do with your family or a sense of community, coming into a new sense of community. However, when I clarified it with our Isis deck, especially with the proper burial of freedom, there is nothing to be gained and everything to be lost by trying to hold on to that which no longer serves us. Osiris, the Lord of the Dead, guides you now to release that which no longer needs to be a part of your life so that you may be free. So that's what gave me the clarification on what this energy was. So I feel that I'm speaking to a collective who is, for whatever reason, holding on to the past or thinking of currently their past connections, and with the extended family being the first thing before family. On that card, it does feel like this is heavily tied to your older sense of community, the communities in which you have left or you once felt deeply a part of. It does speak to kinship. So these were relationships that were like family. Some of them were family. Okay, for some of you, I'm speaking about your family, but for others of you, I'm speaking about friends, a friend group, a really deep or long time friend group. For others of you, I'm talking about both, okay? You've seen both of these situations play out not so well. However, you're still holding on to it. And what I feel is latching you onto this, right, to this community is really a lack of confidence in oneself about what you can accomplish on your own and in your own right. Because I'm speaking to a collective and a divine family who at one point was very dependent on this family, on this extended family, whether it was mentally, emotionally, physically, okay? You were dependent on them. Specifically, when it says the wealth of one's family tradition, it felt like you were gaining something by doing things the way everybody else did it. You were following the grain at one point in your life and just going with emotions, doing what you saw around you, even though this was not where you were meant to be going and not what truly was calling your soul. So it does feel like there was a need for you to step away from the traditions of your family, of this group. Okay, so traditions mean the long-standing, line or continuance of the same thing. Okay, while others of you is like literally the connection itself, right? Your connection itself was robbing you from being able to ascend to these new places. And that's what I feel. Because in clarification of all this energy, I received the stork, which denotes change in resonance for the better, sooner or later, in accordance to the distance away from the person. Now, this popped out pretty distant away from the original card. So this lets me know that there is going to be a change of resonance. There is going to be a change of scenery, a change of community, right? It's just not happening currently, but it is destined for you. You are moving in the right direction, okay? Now, it does feel like this change in your community, this change in your scenery is going to be heavily tied to what the sun signifying happiness and popularity. You're about to become very popular and very well known. And that is what's going to bring about these changes. That's what's going to be the wind beneath your wings. That's what's going to really allow you to go and find and build your nest, right? To find the materials necessary to build that nest in a place that feels like home. Because home is what? Where your heart is. Okay, the flowers popping out is an absolute indication of a long and happy life. So this is sustainability. And if children are near the extraordinary honors and fame, okay? Now, there weren't children that popped out, but another card in regards to fame popped out. So this definitely, next to popularity, this definitely does feel like an increase in notoriety, okay? You are about to become very well known, okay? And this is what's going to be what helps you find honor, right? And to live this long and happy life. And I do feel like this is going to be very fulfilling for the collective. This is something that you've been praying for, something that, honestly, now this is where I feel too. In you finding this happiness, you are breaking a long-standing tradition in your family and in the group of community, whatever feels right to you, maybe both for some of you, in having true joy. I'm speaking to a collective in a divine family whose ancestors did not have full joy. They have, in large part, settled. They settled for what they thought they could have, what everyone told them they should have, and what only their limited belief of what they could possibly do, right? So it does feel like you are changing the trajectory by going after what really makes you happy, finding true joy. I feel like this is really what's going to set you apart and allow you to find fulfillment, right? Because we can talk about honors and you getting physical things that represent your accomplishment, but the true accomplishment is fulfillment, right? Feeling fulfilled in oneself, feeling like you have done something that is an accomplishment. That's more important than anything else, because you can have that absent of any physical contributions. You can have fulfillment absent of any physical things that you may attune to wealth, to accomplishment, etc., so on and so forth. Okay, now that's the energy that I feel for the collective. Also clarifying your own energy with like your own personal energy. It does feel like, okay. First thing that popped out was the birds. My divine family, know this is gossip, okay? This is gossip. You are the topic of conversation. People are talking about you and talking about dire misfortune or fierce enemies. So these are people who don't have your best interests at heart, people who really don't like you, okay? And they're speaking about your misfortune. They're speaking about where you once were. Because I'm speaking to a collective who was once in a very negative karmic space. Okay, you were receiving a lot of negative karma, and I don't feel like this is some of it was due to your own personal actions, but it does feel like this lifetime was meant to balance the karma of previous lifetimes. So a lot of the things that you went through felt unprovoked, seemed unprovoked, but really were tied to many other past lifetimes that were kind of balancing the scale, so to speak. Okay, and many other people didn't know about it. Okay, they feel like you're going from this place of being very desolate, not having anything, because the broken glass foretells ill luck for long years. You were in a space where you really weren't fortunate or prosperous for many long years. With the anchor denotes successful ventures in business and love. You are about to have a sustainable success in business as well as love. Okay, and this is tied to, or it feels like they are having to watch you. These people who are gossiping about you, and it does feel like with the Ten of Sacred Circles coming out here, this is tied to the old communities, the old people, even for some of your family members who you were once around, who are watching you. They're literally watching you go from what they felt like was a permanent place of just negative karma, like you are never going to get it right, never going to make it out of that situation, never going to see anything more, to you growing into this place that is very wealthy, very, very secure, very stable, okay? And it's absent of them. Like I said, I'm speaking to a divine feminine collective who was once very dependent on these relationships, very dependent on these connections and the wealth that it offers. So for some of you, you had to be dependent on these people because they were taking care of you. They took you in. For other people, you were dependent on their adulation, on them telling you that you're doing a good job, regardless of how you felt, right? You were dependent on them, their approval. And it does feel like that was something that was kept from you. They weren't giving you their approval. They weren't seeing it. And it's because you were in this really negative karmic cycle. And if they weren't aware spiritually that this was, past life, probably weren't, then they're just looking at it like, oh, he got a lot, they got a lot going on. She got a lot going on. They got a lot, you know what I'm saying? They have a lot going on, and I don't see them ever getting beyond that. And it feels like they're disappointed to see you living this life that they felt was impossible. And specifically around surrounding your intense love and strong fellowship feeling for what you do for your work. What you do for work, what you do is you're very passionate about it. It's something that's a love child to you. This is definitely in line with all the readings that I've been doing lately, okay? And these people, your community that you have left from, they knew this. You told them that you wanted to do this, that you saw this for yourself before you doing it, and they didn't believe it. Not only didn't they believe it, they talked negatively on it ever happening. They believed that you would be stuck, that this karmic cycle that you were in was your life. Okay, and it's so in line with many of the other readings. And now having to watch you get everything that they felt you would never get, they are disappointed. Not because, and again, they are enemies to you, but that's not really the disappointment there. It's not necessarily seeing you win. It's the fact that they thought they'd never see it. The way that they looked at the world, it should be impossible for you to win. So now that you're winning, they have to go in and literally reassess their entire fucking lives. Everything that they believe in, everything that they've known to be true is questioned or is literally thrown on its head by you. Just by you existing, just by you succeeding, just by you being happy. Because they thought, these people in these communities, people in your family, these people that you once were around, thought that you would never be happy. Thought that you would never get to see what you're about to see now. This popularity, this happiness, you getting what you deserve. They never thought they'd see it. And that's why you need to let it go. That's why you need to let it go. I understand that you may be separated. I understand that you may be lonely. I understand that there may have been positives in these connections. I had positive moments with them as well. And I feel like that's what you're holding on to because you don't know, right? There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding your future because you've never really been successful, right? You've been in this ill luck for so many years. So you've been doing the work. You've been told that this is coming, but you literally don't know what that looks like, how that's going to come in. You've never seen it before in your life, right? So this is new to you, and there's a need for you to be sure that every new thing and every new challenge that you have undertaken has been worked out and is working out in your best interest. And with the house denoting success in all ventures, even if present condition is unpleasant, know that the future will be happy and prosperous. That's what it's saying. Even though regardless of whatever you're dealing with right now, know that these are last minute situations that you had to get through in order to get to this newfound energy, this newfound love, and this happy and prosperous life. Surrounding with the order, so remember I told you the other card. Honor and recognition. You of labor. Okay, so honor and recognition for your hard work, but honor, popularity. You're a very honorable person. You're about to be known for what it is that you do in your work ethic. Although there is, with the railroad forecasting a long journey, there is still some road left to travel until you get to this space. Okay, there are some things that you still have to go through and undergo and learn in order to get to this space. But know that this energy, this success is riding in towards you, or you're riding towards it, whichever you resonate to with the rider. Signifies a sure sign of good news. Know that you will see this situation increasing. You will see it moving beyond where it is now. It's just going to require you to fully accept that what's done is done and what's dead is buried. and what's coming toward you, the future will not look anything like the past. And with that, I am wishing you nothing but peace, prosperity, abundance, health, and wealth in this moment and in every moment. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Until next time, happy healing.